Welcome to the Whiskey Chasers, where we talk about our passion for whiskey and its history, either amongst ourselves or while interviewing distilleries, all while enjoying a glass. I'm Steve.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Chris.
Please enjoy responsibly while enjoying this week's episode of the Whiskey Chasers.
All right. This is Chris's bottle.
Yeah, do you want to open your bottle?
Didn't you already open it?
No,
you were struggling with it.
I just took off the plastic.
Just the plastic.
Just the plastic.
Make it easier.
Old Overholt, 10-year.
10-year cask strength rye whiskey, limited release.
Limited
Lots of things going on.
A lot of words there.
Nice little pop with a real corky job. Not a synthetic. Not a synthetic. Well, look at the size of that hole.
They did not skimp on the hole for this.
Just getting right into it, boys and girls.
Well, recording this, by the time we release it, the kid will already be here, but we're talking a couple days until...
Could be tonight. Yeah. I mean, it could be at any point. Yeah, it really could be. Yeah, we were told like 50-50 chance from the OB. She was like 50-50 chance it comes like within the next day or two.
Wow, okay. So we may have to cut recording short tonight.
Could happen. We'll take it all over to the ER with us.
We'll record over there.
They'll be like, no smoking in here. Shit. Watch your mouth when you're talking to me. Don't you know who I am?
Don't you know who I am?
I'm one of the whiskey chasers. How dare you? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. It's a 10-year rye whiskey, and I'm going to try something that I have not tried. I don't know if you've tried, Steve. Okay. It doesn't have a ton of age on it because I just got it this year, but it's something I've been wanting to try for a long time, and it's fabled. It's a stout. This is a stout pipe tobacco.
I like stout.
So you're going to have to hold on. Like it's going to girth your loins.
I am in need of girthing.
Yes.
All right.
Because it's full body. Like everything like when you type in like strongest full flavored pipe tobacco, this is always one of the top like 3 that pop up for a non-English blend. So this is Peterson's. It's always been Peterson's, but this is Irish Flake.
Irish Flake. Okay.
Peterson's Irish Flake, which I always, because if you look at that, I always assumed this would be like some sort of aromatic job. It's not. So it's a full-bodied blend made of equal portions, air-cured and flue-cured, dark-fired Virginia and Burley.
Sorry, flue-cured?
Yeah, flue. It's a different type of curing. It's like they use a flue, like a chimney flue. Yeah. Yeah, it's a different type of curing method. But it's dark-fired Virginia and I think dark-fired Burley, which that's interesting, right? True to pure, unspoiled tobacco taste, earthy, slightly sweet. It's recommended for the experienced pipe smoker. So like they're not even playing around. They're like, if you're not like...
If you don't know what you're doing, don't do this.
Don't play with fire, right? And then cry about getting burned. So I'm pretty pumped about this. And like, I didn't realize, and then I was like, oh man, but based on the reviews and the description, I'm like, this could be something that I really enjoy and like might be like in the rotation. Yeah. Because I started looking for dark fired Kentucky blends after I realized that my favorite dark fired Kentucky blend, Orlick dark fired, is no longer made. And this year, Mac Baren stopped producing Bold Kentucky, which is another one of my favorite ones. So I'm like, oh,
I don't think I realized that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like 2 of my favorite dark fired blends gone. Kind of had a freak out moment. Started scouring. This is supposedly stronger than both of those. So we'll find out.
Sounds good. All right. Good experiment then. Yeah. And have you had this Overholt 10-year before? Or is this going to be a first try for you also?
Nick, have I had this? I don't know. Have I? Nick would know better than me.
I know that you've sampled it.
Okay.
I don't know
that was a while ago.
It was a long time ago.
And that was with Brendan?
Yeah.
So, I don't remember that at all. But so basically, let's just pretend I haven't had it. But yeah.
It's basically you haven't.
Basically,
Steve, have you had it?
I have never. Yeah. No. And I've never had the Irish Flake either. And so, like you, I've seen it. And if it says Irish, now, to be fair though, it says Irish, but it's not a green label.
It's not.
Which made me, I would have maybe looked at that. If it's a green label and it says Irish, I immediately think this is gimmicky. And I don't want it.
And not always in a bad way, but most of the time, more often than not.
So I wouldn't have picked it up and looked at it. But since this one is like a kind of a burgundy, pink, purpley kind of label, I maybe would have picked it up and looked at it, but I don't think I ever have.
The problem with Peterson labels or Nick, if you've never seen it. So this is another Peterson, another classic one, Old Dublin, right? It's just a plain.
They're very
purple,
plain
right?
looking.
This one's a plain red. Now this one is in English, but I think it's got some. Yeah, and this one's got Bosma. So I got this one because they don't make Bosma's not a thing anymore. So I have this, but.
And right here's the Sherlock Holmes, also just
same
regular
thing.
paper.
And then they have Sunset Breeze, which is like an orange. Now that's an aromatic. Like, so if you were to like pick up both of them and be like, okay, so you had ones in aromatic, I think they're all aromatic. They just look kind of that way. So, but yeah, this one I just always assumed, I never like really looked at it, and it popped up when I started researching it, and I was like, I've seen that, you know? So now we're going to try it, and I'm hoping it's going to be, if it's as good as I'm hoping, then I'll be happy. If it's just okay, it's fine too. Yeah. But I'm really hoping what this is going to do is take over my go-to dark-fired Kentucky type of blend. There's a few contestants in the running, but we'll see. What's some dark leaf? Again, I bought this like this year, so it's not got a ton of age on it, but look how dark that is. Oh man. And it smells like a bit like beef jerky. So I think that we're off to a good start.
There you go.
Which that's what you're looking for. Anybody that doesn't know.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you're looking for.
If you want the dark fire, yeah.
For the dark fired. And this is a flake, so we're going to rub it out. But yeah, dude, everybody I've talked to has been like, this literally put hairs on my chest. I watched it happen. Some people are like, oh, I just couldn't take it. It was just too much. So, and everybody has been like, this is not for this is for the seasoned vet.
So why is it called Irish? What is it?
Irish flake?
Yeah.
I think just it's just kind of a old stamp, you know what I mean? Like Irish flake. It's kind of like it's kind of a no nonsense kind of name for a blend, you know, like an old flake. Yeah. So we'll see. I'm hoping, and it feels like it might be a little bit on the moist side, but we'll see.
I'm gonna say it looks like it's rubbing out okay though.
Yeah. I'm just don't watch me rub it out. Don't make eye contact, Steve. All right, so this is what we're gonna smoke.
Yeah,
this is what we're gonna
nice.
drink.
And so and while you're rubbing that out for Old Overholt, to finish off our history of Old Overholt, last time we kind of went off track last time, but the last time we did history, we went off track. I know. I was amazed too. We got through Prohibition and all that kind of fun stuff. Now there's a big gap into the 70s, which is when they went international. They started making some things international and going across seas, and they had their 1810 sour mash was the label. That's what they called themselves, which is when they started. So that makes sense.
But still rye.
Yes, it was still a rye. Yep. And then in 1987 is when they were acquired by Beam. And this is because they were owned by National Distillers. So it was bought in through all of that. So that's when they moved from Pennsylvania to Kentucky, is after Beam bought them. So Beam buys them somewhere between 87 and 90. That's the whole process took like those 3 years or so. That's when they move down to Kentucky and gets used by Beam.
I'm still trying to process rye selling internationally, like American rye. Canadian, I can understand like Canadian whiskey and like people seeing that as a rye and that doing well internationally.
It's also interesting that, and maybe we didn't talk about this last 2 episodes, but this is we're getting into a time where ryes aren't the most popular thing.
They're not. No, rye is now becoming more popular. But they're kind of behind the bourbon craze and everything else.
It's like they were old world. They were popular. Then the 60s, 70s, 80s hits, and it's like forget about it. And that continued on until, like you said, recent years. But it became like, especially in the 80s, it was like Southern Comfort. It wasn't even foolproof like things,
which is probably at least a little bit on. I don't know how well it did internationally. It's a rye, so it's spicy. I would assume that if it's what we're thinking of, which is old Overholt rye, it's not a Canadian rye. This is a much stronger
compared to Canadian. It's in your face. Yeah,
and there really isn't like punchiness is American when it comes to spices and stuff. Most of the time, when it comes to alcohol, it's looking for boldness, but not really punchiness. They're not going with a high proof. You're not doing that kind of thing internationally. So I don't know how well it actually did outside of the US.
I would assume it'd be like 80 proof.
Yeah, it probably would have been over 80 proof.
How well does rye typically do outside America anyway? No,
Right. And I don't, yeah, because there really isn't a market, I don't think.
Other than Canadian.
I mean, but lately, I mean, just within the past couple of years, like Johnny Walker's tried to do like a high rye mash bill for Scotch. I feel like there's been a few Irish whiskeys that have tried their hand at like putting rye in the mash bill. But this is like years in the making of them to be able to do that. And I don't know how well they've done international, like local. Maybe internationally to here in America, it's done well. I just don't know how well it's done there. Because rye is not a common, it's not a common high percentage in like a mash bill. It's not a common thing they look for.
Right.
It tends to be a bit too harsh.
Right. And so unless their international was just Canada or something, you know, which is possible. It could have been something like that. I don't know if maybe like Russia or something likes it.
That might make sense for like the cold,
yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely imagine it would be a colder climate
And
place.
they drink a lot of vodka, so maybe they're just used to that burn. That's interesting. And when did they go international? In the 80s?
70s.
70s.
Yep.
So right in that time period where rye was not big, maybe they went international because rye wasn't doing well here in America.
That's good. Have you taken a sip yet?
I have not.
Boy, oh boy. Gosh, that's good.
The pairing or the whiskey?
The pairing is great. Wait until Steve gets into that. But the whiskey itself is fantastic.
Yeah.
I just took a sip, and maybe because it's the first thing I've drank today, other than like a spirit wise. Obviously, I've drank other things, but it's the first whiskey I've had, and I just am blown away by how much more flavor I'm getting out of an old Overholt. You know what I mean? Like it's old Overholt plus.
Oh, yeah.
Like grade A.
And is that the year or the proof? What do you think?
It's all of it. I think it's all of it. But I'm getting a lot more sweetness than you usually get.
Yeah, and it's 121 proof. It doesn't taste that a lick.
No, it's a very friendly 120.
Very friendly.
But with a ton of spice and backbone, without it being at all punchy or overwhelming.
Very good flavor. Yeah.
Just strong. Just a good strong flavor, which we'll get into the tobacco in a minute too, but this is a good strong flavor too. They're going well together.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you did this or found this in your research. This is the first bottle that Old Overholt has put out at cask strength since the 1940s.
Yeah, it's not a standard thing for them to be doing.
It's not. Which is disappointing because this is really good.
Yeah, why not? Why not,
Like,
right?
What's I mean, we're talking 1940s. Maybe it died out with everything else and they said rye's not that great, so let's bring it back, but at less proof and see if people can buy into it again.
But this is something that they've decided to continue, like it's available.
I don't know. So that's the hard part is this came out 2 years ago, if I remember right. They released the 10-year and people went crazy for it. And at that time, they said it's a limited release. Don't know if we're going to do it again. The very next year, they released an 11-year. So 1 year more than this, but still at cask strength. And then
So they're going to keep
this
going
year,
12, 13?
well, so this year, I think they released an 11-year, but not at cask strength now. And it was meant to mimic their oldest stuff that they put out before that rye kind of took a dive.
I think that's a poor choice. I think
I do
that
too.
this shines at the cast strength.
Completely agree. Because of how friendly this is, I don't know what it would taste like as an 80 proof. Like this, it would be. I think it'd be way too. I think it'd be weak.
I think the age is helping it along at that proof. But I mean, I think that given the option between the either or, I think the proof is more important than the age.
Now, this one came out, we'll have it on this series, but this one came out before the Monongahela.
Yes.
So, okay, we're talking Beam bought them out. Beam brought them to Kentucky. When Beam did that, did they switch up the rye strand?
Nothing really happened with Old Overholt after that happened until 2017. So 2017 is when they kind of reintroduced Old Overholt. So we have to kind of rethink some of our talks about the labeling on this being really old school and like, well, they don't need to work on that. They redid everything in 2017.
So when you said reintroduced, like they were still producing it.
Yeah, but
Up
they
until
did a
then.
rebrand. They
Gotcha.
like brought it back, like made it, they changed the look of it, did all the stuff in 2017.
So what did it look like before 2017?
It looked very similar. Like they didn't really change it all that much with how it looks, but like they made it more available. They started like bringing out more bottles of it. They kind of put some backbone into the marketing and like made it a thing. Yeah. So this would have came out after that for sure, 2017. And that's when they would have, if they changed anything, that's when they would have done it. There's no record of them changing like mash bills or anything like that at that time, other than the fact that it's now made in Kentucky instead of Pennsylvania. So I would guess the rye is different. It's probably a different strand. It's a different
I mean, would
type.
make sense because if Beam bought them out, Beam brought them there. Beam at that point would have had Basil Hayden, which they would have been using Kentucky rye for, versus like buying in or shipping in Monongahela or making that a special thing. Old Granddad is Beam too. Was this part of the Old Granddad buy too? Because I don't think Old Granddad was theirs, was it? Or did they buy Old Granddad?
No, I think that was also part of National Distilleries.
Okay. Which would make sense because both of those are like higher rye content. So it would make sense if they brought it in and bought it at that time. Why not just use the rye that we have, but not change the mash bill, so to speak? We'll change the grain, like where it's from, more or less, or the strand, but we won't change the mash bill.
Right.
That would make financial sense at that point.
Absolutely. And it's not until 2023 that the Monongahela stuff started up.
Oh,
And so 23, 24 is kind of when that bottle came out, because that's when they opened up the West Overton village in Pennsylvania and started like that's their like tours and all that stuff in Pennsylvania, because you can now go to Pennsylvania into West Overton, the town there that it was originally made in, and have like a tour.
What I find very interesting is I love Beam. If you go visit Beam, Beam is very dedicated to say these are our bottles, and they're very proud of very certain specific bottlings. Old Granddad and Old Overholt don't really make that cut of like that pride aspect of like, this is ours. Like, it's not like they're ashamed of it, but they're not like...
And I don't know much about Old Granddad, but when it comes to Overholt, I think that matches, and I think that fits because Beam is so interested in their history. The fact that this bottle came with an acquisition with a bunch of other things, their home is in Kentucky. So if you go to Beam in Kentucky, they don't talk about this one because that's not their home. And that's why they opened up this place in Pennsylvania, because that is their home.
Which makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. And
I'm
so
glad that they did that.
They
too.
can separate them out and kind of give Old Overholt its own due in its own place, which fits into Beam's idea of heritage and
I was gonna say it's very respectful to that brand.
Exactly.
But I also find it very interesting. So there's a lot of things with Beam that I find interesting in life. But I pair this is not theirs. They bought it. They didn't do much with it. 2017, they kind of rebranded, did a little bit more. 2017, 2019 was around the time that Freddie No Jr. started having his hand involved with like Little Book. And then a couple years after that was when he became master distiller. And that's when you're talking like this came out after he became master distiller. I kind of find it interesting that the timing of that, because he's done a lot. I mean, chapter 8 was all rye of Little Book. So I find it interesting that he seems to be rye heavy or appreciative of different types of whiskey to the point where he might be the one that kind of pushed this to say, hey, let's do a little bit longer. Yeah. I think this will do better age-wise and proof-wise. I think you'll get a little bit better flavor out of that. They won't dare do that with Basil Hayden, which I find interesting. Yeah. But this, it's almost like they're willing to push the boundaries to see what could become of this guy.
And you might be more willing to push and break things that aren't yours. And so like Basil Hayden is theirs. They know how to do that, and they don't want to maybe mess with that too much. Whereas this is a stepson. We can push this one around a little bit.
Right. We might make it fit what we need to.
Now I know when we did, so we've done the 80, we've done the 100, and we've done the 114. And each kind of step of the way we said, this is a little bit better, a little bit better. I feel like there was a Little tug of war going on between the bonded and the 114 on which one might have been better than the other one. Do you guys think this is better than either of those?
I think I'm about to make a statement here. This is far and away the best version of Old Overholt that's ever come out.
Of any of them that I've had, this is the best. Which I've had now all the main ones. This is very spectacular. It's the proofing on it, you wouldn't even know it. Like I would guess this to be like a bonded. I mean, like this is punching well below its weight when it comes to the punch part. But flavor wise, I mean, this is dense. There is so many flavors going on. It is sweet, but it's also savory. There's lots of, like I said, it's very deep. There's lots of flavor going on. There still isn't, for me, there's not a ton of finish, but it's punching so much before that in terms of flavor that I'm okay with that. And it does, I guess I shouldn't say there's no finish. It lingers in my mouth. There's no finish like going down. It doesn't seem to alter in that way for me, but it's made up for by how great it is before that.
Right. There's like it's more like it's reminiscent. It leaves like a not a finish per se, but like that there's something there kind of a thing, a whisper that something was there, which is kind of strange when you think about something this flavorful. Usually you have more of a finish. I'm fine with it because what you are getting, and actually you kind of nailed it, Steve, because this is like all the good things about rye without any of the things that nobody, like people typically don't like. Because you get a lot of flavor without any of them being like too much. But that doesn't mean it's not full flavored. I think they're all just so well melded together that you appreciate all of them without any of them being like if you were a non-rye guy, you wouldn't be like, this is too this or this is too that. It's kind of just, they're all playing well together. It's like aged meat. It's like just something good that's been pushed to its absolute perfection is what I think. The age on it's perfect. The proof on it's perfect. You get all the benefits and the flavors of rye without any of them being overpowering. Like Steve said, you're getting a huge proof point and a rye at that for something that drinks a lot friendlier, something that's even lower, like 100, which is kind of weird. You know what I mean? It's like full flavored all the way to the max without it at all being overpowering.
It reminds me a lot of like an Islay Scotch or something, where it's like not because of the flavor, but in that way that it's so bold in flavor, but with very little proofiness on it. And like you don't get that a lot, especially with something like a rye. I mean, I go back to our rye series when we did that a while back, where we kind of challenged the idea that rye is just this spicy, punchy thing, and it can be kind of floral and it can be kind of friendly. This is very much the friendly version of it.
Which is interesting to me because typically the higher proof you go with a rye, the more like punchy and pungent it becomes.
Exactly. And you're not getting that with this.
No. So I typically like to equate rye to like rye bread in flavor. This is like a sweet dessert bread.
I was going to say it's less like a rye bread, almost more like a pudding, pudding kind of.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of sweetness to this.
There is.
Like a figgy pudding kind of.
Steve, I would agree. There's not much of a finish, but the longer it sits in your mouth, you kind of get the tannins of the wood, like from the age. Like more than anything, it pulls it out almost like a wine finish when it's not a wine finish.
I get what you're saying. It's like oak, but more of an older oak.
Yes.
Old oak, not like fresh new oak.
Which I don't mind. I don't mind at all. It's new for a rye that's not finished in like a wine barrel. That's kind of a newer thing.
It's like an old pool table wood, kind of wood. You know what I mean? Yeah. With all the oils from centuries, or not centuries, but maybe decades of hands touching it. And old pipe smoke and leather. It's like all the good things associated with like that, and it's perfect for this time of year. And it's a little sweet. Which I did not expect. Yeah, and then it's working pretty good with this pipe tobacco.
It really is. Yeah, because you're right, this pipe tobacco is punchy.
It's punchy.
So, which maybe it's making up for part of the lack of punch a little bit.
It could be. Because it's a very smooth, very easy. It's actually a very easy going flake. I thought it was going to be hard to keep lit. For me, it's been very easy to keep lit. And if you were to like smoke it right away, you're like, well, I don't know how like strong this is. But the more you smoke it, you realize this is really kind of like the back of my throat is getting walloped. because it's strong and it's so subtle that you don't realize how strong this is. It's like one of those things where you have like 3 or 4 strong drinks and you stand up and all of a sudden you swim a bit. I think it's like one of those things. You're not realizing how much this is affecting you until you realize, oh, this has got some nicotine to it. Like this has got some heavy weight to it.
When you guys are saying strong, it's the nicotine strong, or is it the flavor strong?
More like the effects of the tobacco, than the flavor per se.
Yeah. If we hadn't have been smoking as often as we have been here lately, so like we've had a bit of a marathon here on recordings over the last month or so. So we've done a lot of recording, and because we've done a lot of recording, I've done a lot of smoking. If this was a normal time of year where we did this once a month or whatever, I would be struggling after this bowl because of the nicotine content.
It would be too concentrated.
Like, I would stand up and I would feel the nicotine rush. It might hurt my stomach, get the greens or whatever in the stomach a little bit, especially if you do the high nicotine and you're not used to it.
Yeah. It's like trying real chewing tobacco for the first time or something. Or some people do it with a cigar. First time they have a cigar or haven't had a cigar for a while and it's just too much.
Yeah. Usually my first cigar of the season or my first pipe during the fall, because I really don't smoke much during the summer or anything. So usually in the beginning of fall, I usually get some queasy stomachs the first couple of times because of that.
Hit you like a freight train.
Exactly. Yeah. And this would knock me down for sure. When we're talking about the boldness, it's not the flavor. It's not like the Perique or Latakia or something that kind of has a strong flavor to it. Whereas this one, it's more the nicotine, the punch.
But the flavor that's there, what I'm getting on the flavor, if people are wanting to know about the flavor, because it is strong in all those aspects. And I appreciate it, especially a guy like me who's into that. I really appreciate a strong tobacco. So this one's like really hitting that spot for me. But flavor-wise, it is a strong flavor. It's just not what you would. It's not espresso strong like you would expect, like the strongest coffee you've ever had. But what it is a very strong coffee flavor, or not coffee, but like coffee. It's like a strong tobacco flavor, and it's very earthy, and it's kind of smooth. I didn't expect it to be so smooth, and it is very woodsy.
I would agree with that. It's
Irish Flake is perfect name for this. It is kind of like just a country kind of
a little bit
tobacco,
foresty, it's pretty mellow on flavor, like you're saying. It's earthy, soily almost.
And woodsy. This actually would be a great tobacco for camping. Going back to our camping series, This actually is a great kind of outdoors. That's what this is. This is an outdoors tobacco. It's no nonsense, kind of old world. Just if you think tobacco, that's what this is. This is tobacco. Like old school chewing tobacco, even like without the flavoring.
Now, would you be able to smoke this in like heat, or to be more towards like the evening when it's colder?
This is strong. It's a strong tobacco. But for me, this, and I think people would find this nuts. But again, I like a strong tobacco. But for me, this could be like an all day, all season, all the time kind of a blend.
Definitely not that for me. Yeah.
It's strong. But it's because the flavors aren't, it's just tobacco. That's the best way I can describe it, is like when I think of just plain old tobacco, that's kind of the flavor I'm getting. And I really like it.
There's no topping, flavor topping of any kind?
If they put any sort of topping on it, it's a minimum. I'm not getting any of that. What I'm just getting is like tobacco barn tobacco. And and I get that with dark fired Kentucky. That's kind of what the dark fired Kentucky is. You get a little bit of beef jerky. It is kind of meaty, but it's just tobacco, American tobacco.
Right, but with it being a Virginia and a Burley, it's not very cigarette-y.
No,
it doesn't have that kind of thing.
It's not that kind of tobacco. Yeah. Like I don't equate cigarettes to tobacco. You know what I mean?
No. But like we had mentioned that the last time that we had, like Virginias can kind of get kind of cigarette-y sometimes.
They can. Those can. Yeah.
But this one, because of the dark fire, I think it takes away that
there's no lightness
basicness
to it.
Of it, or the lightness of it.
That's very medium bodied. Like it's not light, it's not super strong flavor wise, but it's just earthy, woodsy, outdoorsy. That's what I would just equate it to. Like if you were to grow your own tobacco.
So we're hitting like the week before Halloween, Chris's favorite holiday.
Favorite time.
It's like his birthday. That's what I would equate it to. Favorite time. So Halloween, leaves dropping. Rye is normally like my go-to around that time of year. Hearing you guys talk about pipes before and trying to pair, you normally don't want one to compete with the other. It sounds like this would want to compete with a normal rye. I say that to say, this is not a normal rye. This should be, by all means, you look at it and go, Old Overholt, 10-year, 120 some proof, cast strength, has got to be rye in your face, typical rye, heavy in your face. It's not. So would this go with a traditional rye, with the idea that the Old Overholt that we have, the 10-year, may not be a traditional style of rye?
I think, and Steve, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think, and I've said it before on here, but it's a different kind of a thing. But when I talk about something being a great canvas for other things to be painted upon, and typically when I say that, I'm talking about lighter tobaccos, honestly. Yeah. This is such a medium, but it's such a, and I can't think of many other tobaccos that I would say it's so just plain tobacco flavor that this actually is a good canvas. And I don't think this would compete with actually anything. I think if anything, this sets the stage better than a lot of other blends I've used as a basic tobacco to kind of allow other things to showcase what they are. You know what I mean? Because it's not gonna, it might add to a little bit, but if it were to add anything, it would just be adding body. It's not going to overpower it. The flavor is not going to do anything to sway your mind one way or the other on something.
Yeah, I think the tobaccos that would compete with a normal rye, and really even this one, would be your heavy Periques, your heavy Latakias that have kind of a spicy flavor to them, and they kind of, the boldness is in the flavor, whereas this one, like I said, it is pretty blank. But it's almost like it's enhancing the alcohol, and so like because it's strong, but without a lot of like punchy flavor. So very much kind of like this Old Overholt. It's strong, being 120 proof, but doesn't have the punchy flavors to it. So they end up matching very well. But because neither of them are punching you in the face, they go really well together.
Right. Yeah. And I think actually that this is very much like the Old Overholt in the sense of, and I think that's why it says for experienced pipe smokers, because when I saw that, I thought it was going to be taxing on your palate. Mm-hmm. What it is it's like a very high proof spirit that you don't realize is high proof until you've already had a glass or two. And then you're like, oh, you know what I mean? This thing's really kind of kicking my butt. You know what I mean? That's exactly what this is. That's why it's for experienced pipe smokers, because if you smoke a pipe a week, you know what I mean? One or two a week, you smoke this, you're going to be swimming. But if you're experienced and you smoke maybe every day, every other day or something like that, and you're used to it, you're still going to feel it, but it's not going to be like, I overdid it. Right. Same thing with alcohol. Like you don't go from not drinking to drinking 129 proof Elijah Craig or something like that. You know what I mean? And then being like, oh, this didn't affect me.
Oh, this is water. Yeah.
This affected me. Yeah. You know what I mean? I haven't had a drink in a month. Let me try that 129 proof. That would be, be different. Yeah. You're not experienced at that point.
For most people,
this is for experienced pipe smokers. Right. And also, if you were to freight train this, I want to give this to Ryan because he smokes so fast. I think he'd be like halfway through. Like, oh, I'm buzzing, guys.
So with it being, again, we're talking fall, we're talking October, we're talking the week before Halloween. People are probably out and about. Not out and about. They're probably out on the porch. They're probably watching the leaves fall. They're probably getting into some good pipe tobacco. They're probably drinking high proof or ryes. Do you guys have any pipe tobacco suggestions for that idea? We're out. It's kind of chilly. We might be into ryes. Let's just focus because we're going through a rye series. Yeah. So like, are there different pipe tobaccos that you go for different ryes or just rye in general?
For rye specifically or this time of year?
For rye specifically.
Oh, rye specifically.
Because normally around this time of year, we like to pull out our ryes, right? Yeah. So with that idea in mind, is there pipe tobacco in mind that you have that's rye specific or brand specific for the rye?
I mean, some of the ones we've done, with the rye series. I think I typically try to lean more towards full Virginias, like straight Virginias or Burleys, and then maybe a combination of therein, you know what I mean? Which is kind of what this is as well. But I think that what I'm trying not to do is like what Steve said. I'm not trying to add to a rye because I think that's just too much and it takes away sometimes. Right. I don't want to smoke anything too aromatic. I might smoke a light aromatic. I mean, this time of year, I'm always smoking. If I'm smoking an aromatic, it's autumn evening, which is a great blend, but it's very maple pancakes kind of, which is great. But if you, and actually goes well with a rye.
I feel like the smell would go well with a rye if you're not smoking it.
That's good in a way of like, if you've ever had, do you remember, what was it called? At Trade Winds there at college. I used to love this thing, but you'd get like 3 massive pancakes and bacon and eggs. And I think I got sausage on it as well, and syrup, and it all came on top of each other, and you ate it at the same time. So you get that sweet, salty, meaty kind of thing. That's kind of what you get when you smoke like autumn evening with and you drink a rye, because you're getting that sweet spice, smoky.
Do you get the sweetened flavor with aromatics? Is that just because of the topping?
With that one you do.
Okay.
You don't typically with aromatics, but autumn evening you do. Oh yeah, it's like eating pancakes, and it smells amazing. But that one would be my aromatic of choice. But I mean, other than that, I typically just kind of stick with the like plain old tobacco type flavor, like the Burleys, the Burley Virginias, straight Virginias. I do stay away from the Perique a little bit when it comes to rye, because like Steve said, Perique is spicy in the way rye is spicy, and that's just a lot of spice.
That'd be like rye on rye. Do you have a brand that you look for, like stick with during the time of year that you're like, this is reliable, and I know they're going to.
I have brands that I stick with, but I mean, the Solani is something I smoke quite a bit. Cornell and Deal obviously is a thing I smoke. The different ones, something I smoke quite a bit. I mean, it's my number one brand. But I mean, there's I mean, we picked up some Peter Stokeby. That's always, they have great bulk blends that are good this time of year too. What do you think, Steve?
I agree. Usually, like a Virginia Burley, Periques are too much. I really enjoy English blends, so a little bit of Latakia in there is always a plus for me, especially in the fall. And that extra body, I just really enjoy. If it's with a rye, I could see where that maybe could be an issue, but usually not. Especially the ryes that I drink, because I'm still not fully a rye guy.
Well, if you're smoking a light English, then that works perfect. Yeah.
Exactly. So if I'm drinking like a Sazerac rye or something that's a pretty friendly rye, then yeah, a light English or whatever goes really well with that.
So what are you drinking this time of year? So Chris and I are big rye people, so like rye fits with this time of year.
I usually stick to the scotches during the fall and winter months. Especially the winter months. Winter is, I think you guys probably switch from rye to scotches come winter.
We do. And that's when I switch into English as well.
Okay. Yep. And that makes sense. Yeah. I kind of skip the rye. So I goes right into scotches and kind of do scotch all through the cold months.
We'll get you into rye someday.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't mind. Like I like Sazerac rye. Like that kind of rye is good. This bottle I freaking love. Like I would be all over something like this.
And this is a rye. I mean, this is definitely a rye.
Yeah.
You know, another whiskey for people that maybe don't like rye and they're listening, this time of year, whiskeys are good. Different whiskeys. And I mean that in the way of like they've added something to a bourbon or whatever. Now it's no longer a bourbon, it's a whiskey. Not quite flavored maybe, but maybe sometimes flavored. Okay. I think we've done the Von Payne, like that's definitely a whiskey that's got some black currant added to it. Things like that, where they added something or they finished it so much that it's not a bourbon anymore, you know, kind of a thing. Where it's not like, I don't mean like mixed drinks, you know, I'm talking foolproof whiskeys, but they're not bourbons per se. Or maybe the mash bill is not 51% corn or something like that. Or maybe they didn't age it in a new American oak. You know what I mean? Like there's plenty of things out there that have more flavor, air quote flavor, than like what you typically get with a bourbon or rye.
Right. And actually, I'm going to alter my answer a little bit. I actually switched to a lot of the American single malt this time too.
I guess that's what I'm saying without saying American single malt, because yuck, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah, you don't like that.
But that's I guess that's what I'm getting at. You know what I mean? Like a whiskey.
Yeah, what you're talking about is not as sweet, as bourbon, but more flavor that you get along the way.
Yes, because this time of year is great for that stuff.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
kind of getting into, and then in the Christmas as well. I mean, you're really starting to get into like different flavors that you only do that time of year, right? Around the Thanksgiving time, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, you're starting to get into more flavored stuff.
And it's almost this time of year. There's something maybe about the leaves falling that like it just slows time down. To be like, I could take a time and like drink a glass or two and take my time with it and be all right with it. I can unpack what I'm drinking.
And a lot of it, I attribute a lot of that to the sun going down so much quicker. That it's 6 o'clock and the sun is gone. And so, like, I can't go to bed because it's 6 o'clock.
You could,
but what else am I going to do?
Right.
Like, I can't go out. I can't do yard work that I would normally be doing right now. I can't be doing it like. So, it's either sit inside and watch TV or sit on the porch, read my book with a pipe.
I was going to say, or this time of year, this is, but I mean, spring a little bit too, but this is the lunting time of year. So, I mean, I don't want to walk when it's hot out, but as soon as it gets a little chilly at night, I'm all for walks after dinner.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. And then a pipe? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm a big lunter. I really enjoy going for a lunt with the dog and doing that in the evenings. And so it's a big favorite of mine. Yeah. When I did work from home, I would take multiple walks throughout the middle of the day and just a quick lap around the neighborhood or whatever. And it's a great time to light the pipe and do
regulate
that.
Your system too.
It does. Yeah. Yeah. After a meal, you should always go for a little short walk. It's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
It's healthy.
and it's an aromatic time of year, and then you're smoking on top of it. Yeah. And most people really appreciate the smell of a pipe in the fall time when you're walking around outside. They get little whiffs of it, even if it's not an aromatic. They're like, that smells good. I have a feeling the room note on this is very just rich tobacco. I think people would like it. Yeah. I think it's not nice. Cigarette-y, but it's real tobacco, like a tobacco flavor. I think that would go well outside with the leaves and everything.
It's almost like a mix of, like in the distance when you can smell, it's not someone lighting up a charcoal grill. It is a distant campfire going, where it's not, they just lit, but it's been going for a hot minute.
That's burning wood.
Yeah, the burning wood. They might have some leaves kind of in there, but but that's what that smell is. It's a distant of like, I can smell someone doing something fun and I want to go. Like I want to go sit down with them. Right, yeah. Like it's almost like a woodsy, smoke signals. Yeah.
Woodsy kind of.
Yeah. It's a very nice rim note.
Like a dry smoke. And this is smoking very dry. It's actually behaving very well for a flake.
Yeah. I am relighting, but it's just because I'm talking. If I wasn't talking, I don't think I would have had to relight this very often.
Same with me. And I've actually brought it back to life a few times, which I usually struggle with a flake, especially when I didn't just popped a 10 on and I didn't rub it out that well. I usually struggle a little bit more than I am with this, especially when you just pop a 10, because it's usually the wettest, especially Peterson's. When
Why is that for Peterson's?
They're like, it's because they're made by STG, and STG they just come wet. They put a lot of propylene glycol in there, and they come a little wetter, which I don't mind, but I do smoke my tobacco on the drier side.
Yeah, I think it might be because they use these coin tins that they may not seal as well, and so they use more
just in case
of the stuff just because of that. Whereas the ones that we are like popping, with a pop tin kind of thing, there's no way for air to get into that. Yeah. Whereas these coin tins, there's a chance that could pop at some point its own.
It could, yeah.
And so they may use more because of that too.
Okay. Now you guys are not just loving the pipe tobacco. You guys both seem to really, really like this bottle.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this bottle?
I really like it. I like it a lot. I feel like here's my issue without saying the price tag.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that yet.
We haven't talked about that. This is a great shelfer if I could have it.
Oh yeah, this is a daily.
Yes, and the reason for that is because this is everything Old Overholt plus. This gives enough of a variance to the bonded, to the 114, heck, even to the 80. I mean, this is night and day difference from the 80 proof, but it gives enough variance that you try and go, gotcha, I'm not just drinking Old Overholt. This is something new. This is something different. Special. Yeah, this is something special. Now, given that they've coined it's limited, they may make it in a limited quantity. It does raise the price tag given also the age and the proof. That's what kills me on this. What would you guys say is the price tag on this guy?
It's 10 years.
10 years.
It's 10 years. It's foolproof. It's Beam too, and Beam likes to be a little expensive,
They have their
especially on
tax.
casks. On full cast strength.
Yep.
You're talking about a company that sells what, a 7-year-old Baker's for
$100.
$100. Oh,
Well,
retail
7 is
70 retail
75,
75. $80 now. I
The
don't know.
13 years about 100.
So this, I bet it's probably like 120.
Okay.
I bet it's probably what they're trying to get out of it.
What do you think it's worth?
I think I would probably go to 100.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'd probably go to
I agree with
100.
Steve, except for I think it's worth the 120.
Do you?
I do. I don't. Typically, I'm on the lower end of things. I think this is worth $120.
Yeah.
I just want to see it available for $120.
So it's MSRP is 100.
Well, that's great. That's right up there with Booker's.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. It is great for most brands, in my opinion. I have a hard time paying $100 for Old Overholt because everything else is so cheap compared to this.
How much was the 114?
40,
Are you sure?
maybe 50.
Sure about that? I thought it was closer to 60. You could be right.
Even if it's $60 though, that's a big jump up.
Yeah.
$40 up.
That's a huge jump. But again, the 114 is only 4 years.
That's true. Yeah.
But
You're more than doubling the age in the bottle. And then you're throwing a cask strength on top of it, which limits the production, right? So they have to upcharge for that as well. I mean, a 10-year cask strength is not cheap to produce, period.
No.
Then you got to add the $20 tax for Beam. $100 is actually very reasonable, I think. I think it's pretty
I
reasonable.
mean, my only challenge to that is something like Henry McKenna 10.
But that's Heaven Hill.
It's Heaven Hill.
And
exactly.
it's not cask strength.
It's not cast strength.
Bonded.
That's the biggest thing. It's not cast strength, but it is bonded.
Yeah, but they can mass produce that a little bit more than this. This is coming off out of the barrel. There's only so many barrels that they can make of this. And it's got to come out of the barrel and go into the bottle. No proofing down, which limits how many bottles that they can make. I mean, I kind of see it, and that's why I said 120. The $100, abso-freaking-lutely. I think that's worth 100%.
I'm okay with paying $100 for it.
I mean, I really like that.
so
price.
114 is $30 MSRP.
Okay, well, that's crazy. That is crazy. That's crazy.
So,
I think that just tells you the value on that bottle. Rush out and get it because that should be worth 50.
At least, yeah.
That's something we've always talked about with Old Overholt is the value of what you get versus what you pay is extreme. Like you get so much more in quality in the bottle than what you pay for it. Yeah. This changes that perception in my mind just enough to makes me kind of irritated of like, if I can get this for 80, then it fits right in with that idea that I'm getting something way more value-wise than what I'm paying for it.
I think you're right. But also you got to think this is potentially limited release. I don't know. But I still think for 100 you're getting value, but it does change how much value you're getting. I think a lot of people would see this and go, that's just too much. I see the 100 and I'm like, it's a lot, but for this is actually, I've paid 100 for things that are not nearly as good as this. But it is hard to make that jump.
To add more to that, I think what they're trying to rebrand as their more upscale version of Overholt, the A Overholt Monongahela, that's also like what, a $30 bottle or something. And so this is outside of the norm for Old Overholt for sure. But I think the bottle is also outside of the norm for Old Overholt.
It is.
I mean, going to a 10 years kind of nuts in general.
Yeah. And they've never had like a top shelfer for Old Overholt. This fits that top shelfer. And I guess for 100 that it fits, I'm just like kind of irked on the idea of like, come on, like you can do everything.
You can do it all for under $50 and all of a sudden this one's
I
100.
think of like old fits. There is a massive difference between what's available that's old fits and the specialty bottles, like crazy amount of difference. There's nothing in between. That's even anywhere close to in between. You know what I mean?
But
other brands do that.
Yeah, I can justify that.
I'd like to see something in the middle for a Fitz. You know what I mean?
I feel like I could justify that in my head because they're such extreme. If they didn't offer 4 things under this that were cheaper and
Yeah, they
close to the
kind of
proof
need
point,
to make
like-
a $60 bottle to make this make sense a little bit, you know.
Yeah. I'm
Now,
not dissing.
don't go changing the 114 to $60, but
And I think this bottle's fantastic. I think it's wonderful.
Maybe you do a 10-year at 80 proof and throw it in there for 60 or $80 or something like that. I don't know, but I do think that for 100 MSRP, that's not bad at all. Especially after drinking it. I think if you didn't drink it, you might go, I don't know. But after drinking this, I've had
the juice is pretty good.
This
for
is
$100.
pretty.
Yeah.
This is worth the squeeze.
This is the irony moment. It's coming from a guy that will spend 100 plus, 200 plus on Little Book without question. It won't blink
No
an
qualms,
eye.
yeah.
But this is
Well, and for
Somehow
me, I'm
this
trying to
fits
be objective, right? And everybody knows how much I like Booker's, right? I'm a Booker's dude, and I easily have no problem paying $90, $100 for Booker's, no problems. This is right up there with Booker's.
Really?
It's different than Booker's. I wouldn't compare it to Booker's because the flavor's different, but value in my mind, same value. So I'm cool with paying $100 for this. If I could get it for 90, I'd be like squealing, right? Because I think that this is something that I would have, 8 or 9 of them on the shelf and just pull one down, drink it, pull one down, drink it. You know what I mean? I love it. I think it's great. Same thing with Booker's though. Booker's is my daily drinker if I could get it all the time.
If you could keep it and retain it. Yeah.
Because, and again, that's a strong thing. People are like, holy cow. But it's like this tobacco. I can smoke this all the time. I could drink Booker's all the time because I like strong flavors. This is a strong flavor, but it's actually like, it's way more subdued than Booker's is. Like Steve was saying earlier, it's like almost punching below its weight, but in a good way. Like, I just can't believe that the proof on this is what it is. And it's a rye on top of that. It's so friendly,
very
but
much-
still full flavored.
Which is crazy to think about. So you guys keep bringing up the proof and how it drinks. A rye at 122,
121. Yep.
121 should drink like a punch in
It
the
should be
face.
punching.
rye.
Yeah.
Like, it
This-
should make you sweat.
Yeah. This drinks like a 130 proof bourbon.
Yeah, kind of in a way, with more flavor. You can't get this much flavor out of a bourbon.
No, but you got that kind of the punch, quote unquote punch that you may get from this could be the equivalent of a higher proof bourbon kind of thing, but you still have that sweetness involved.
It's very much like this tobacco, where me and Steve keep saying it's strong.
Yeah.
It's strong, but that doesn't mean the flavor's strong. You get what I'm saying? And I think you could easily have 2 or 3 glasses of this and be like, that was not a big deal. Other than stand up and be like, oh, I'm feeling it.
Absolutely.
Like, whoops, like maybe I should have had all 3 of those in 5 minutes, like,
I'll sit back down.
yeah, I'll sit back down for a minute. Yeah. So it's strong without being like too much, but it's still full flavor.
Do we know why they changed to this bottle shape? Because this is fatter and shorter.
And like you said, the cork is massive.
That's the biggest hole opening I've
So
ever
there
seen.
was Old Granddad did one before this, right? Crit, am I wrong? I feel like Old Granddad did a bottling in this shape before
you're
this.
talking about the Old Granddad 114, right?
Yeah, right? Am I thinking of the
Which
right
is-
one? Yeah.
Yeah, which is like very similar to
Yeah.
Old Overholt 114,
Old
right?
Granddad 114
I
came
think
out
I
before
have
this
that
guy.
on the shelf. It looks very similar to
Yeah.
that. Very similar bottle. I don't think it's quite that big. If that was a ring gauge, that's like the biggest cigar
Yeah.
you could get. Like that's a silver dollar size hole.
And we were trying to figure out when this medic came out. This bottle came out in 2023.
Okay.
This exact bottle.
Yeah.
And which means it was barreled in 2012. So that means it's barreled before all of this, the Overholt rebrand, all that stuff. This was barreled before this.
How much did they have laying away?
That's what I'm saying. I think that the price that they're selling this for is actually pretty good,
Yeah.
considering how much went into that.
Yeah. In 2012, we laid down rye in our unique Escalator Warehouse V. I don't know what that means. Escalator.
I don't know that
Escalator
I've ever seen the Escalator Warehouse
Warehouse.
V.
V or 5. I don't know which.
They must use an escalator to get up to the.
That's probably not on their main campus. That might be.
It is in Kentucky.
Yeah.
A Kentucky style rye is a result. Spice, depth, and unmistakable Overholt character. I don't know if I agree with that.
Could be Overholt turned up to the max volume.
Yeah.
Well, was it the original Overholt flavor? That's what I think of.
God, I love that. I just finished my glass. I really like that. We have a lot of bottles on this podcast, and that's one that's really kind of checking the box for me.
Chris has bottles in my collection that are on layaway. This has been in layaway for. Ooh, you said this came out in what 2020?
23.
Yeah, this has
Probably
been in layaway since 23.
probably
So
has.
like, I've been struggling not to finish mine and just open this one and be like, well, Chris, I'm gonna drink it. You're on your own. Sorry.
Yeah, this is good. This is really good. This is something that if people see this, let me know, because I actually will pay the money for another. I think I would have a hard time passing this up, like I do with Booker's a little bit. If I find Booker's for retail, I usually get it. Now I don't like spending anything more than retail on general principle. The idea of spending more than retail on Booker's, I turn my nose up at that. If I find it for the retail, I usually get it.
It's been showing up a lot more here in Ohio.
Booker's, yeah.
I think people are starting to get tired of spending the money on
They
it,
are,
and you
yeah.
only have the fanboys that are still going after it, like me, But if I see somebody, it's like, oh, I got this bottle of Booker's for 120 or 130. I'm like, ugh, brother, dude, that's not nah, man. You got to get that for retail, man. I don't like to be gouged on the price gouge. Yeah, but if I could find this for $100 all day, let me know. I'm gonna get it. Yeah. I love it. I think it's great.
We're actually going to take we're going to deviate on our next episode. We're going to Halloween.
Gotta have something special for Halloween.
We got to go to a Halloween episode for Chris.
That's right.
I don't know why, but this
Something
is Halloween.
Wait till you guys
At
see the
its
photos
finest.
of this bottle.
This is Halloween.
Definitely one of the
its
coolest
finest.
looking bottles.
And it
ever
screams
made.
Halloween.
Yes, it does. It does. Even the name of it screams Halloween. So excited for that.
Yep.
Stay
so
tuned.
next week back to that, and then back to Overholt after that. Cool. Till next time.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. If you want more great content and other perks, be sure to support the show by clicking the link in the show notes. We can be reached on our website, whiskeychaserspod.com, with any ideas for the show. Thanks again.